Eileen Townsend. I'm the school counselor here at Woodland Elementary School. Tonight we had our family night, and our theme this year is It Takes a Village. Something that we learned throughout the years is that no more is education just the teacher's job. It's the job of everybody involved. So tonight we had parents go through a rotation of sessions led by community members, small businesses, Tanya Seabrooks, Stan Holmes. We also had a parent of one of our children here give his input on what he does as a parent. We also had our behavior interventionist and also a mental health counselor. So we just want the whole community involved because it takes more than just one person to make a child successful these days.
So we're going to start off with a game this evening that I like to play with my kids when we do groups. So y'all didn't expect to come in here and do that, but so we're going to get a little excitement going. Hopefully it's exciting for everybody. I just have a beach ball and we're going to kind of hit it and toss it to each other. We're only going to do it for a minute and a half. Miss Veslis is going to be my timekeeper, so it's not going to be a huge amount of time. But when you hit the ball, I want everybody to be included. So when you hit the ball, I want you to say a feeling. Okay?
A what?
A feeling. Okay? So we're in the mental health room, so we have to start out with mental health. Okay?
My group session.
All right, so I will start. I'll say energetic.
What does that mean? Happiness.
Unexpected. Sad.
Anger.
Let me think of another feeling. Happy.
Tired.
Joy.
Anxiousness.
Tense. Confusion.
Elatedness.
Frustration.
Irritation.
Hot.
Annoyed.
Sadness.
Glad.
Happy.
Grief.
Depressed. Oops. Sorry.
Eager.
Pain.
All right, so let out. So how was that for everyone?
A little nerve-wracking.
Yeah. So you guys saw we helped out each other a little bit with emotions. So that's why we're talking about it takes a village today. That we are a village, we're raising children, we're partners together. So I just have a few things to talk about since we're only here for a few minutes. The first thing I want to talk about is parental involvement is key. You guys are the experts on your family. And the kids are here with us at school 6 to 7 hours a day. So it's helpful if we know if anything important is going on at home so we can help that child here at school too. And help that child work through those emotions, because unfortunately we don't check our emotions at the door when we walk into school. We bring those things with us. So we like to be involved to be able to help those kiddos out for them to be successful here at school and help you guys allow them to be successful at home too. The next thing I have is practice skills at home. I teach a lot of kids coping skills. A lot of times when kids come to me, they don't know what coping skills are. They've never heard of a coping skill. Do you all know what a coping skill is? Can somebody give me an example? Counting.
Breathing.
Yeah. Breathing. Yeah. Those are great examples. So I teach those skills to kids here at school. And it's really important for them to also practice those skills at home, so when they're starting to feel those emotions that you guys talked about, that they can use those things to calm themselves down in the classroom, in the hallway, at home, wherever they might be. And they could be as simple as counting. I like that, counting to 10. Could be as simple as breathing. I allow kids to come up with their own coping skills too. I have a sheet, but what's on that sheet may not work for everybody. Also, consistency. Say what you mean and mean what you say. So as far as consistency, it's like consequences for kiddos. If they get in trouble at school or they're in trouble at home, be consistent with their punishment. Don't tell them that you're going to be grounded for the next 6 months, because that's not realistic. But if you tell them that they're not going to get their Xbox for a day, make sure that you're following through. I'm probably preaching to the choir. And then the last thing is encourage communication. Encourage your kiddos to talk about how their day went at school. If it was bad, what was bad? If it was good, it was good. So again, I'm Christy Carr. I am with Communicare. I am a therapist. I'm here 5 days a week at Woodland Elementary School. So if I can ever be of service to anyone, please let us know here at school. And I laid some papers on your desk so you could see the estimates of U.S. children with mental health issues, as well as there's a card for community support, which is another service that Communicare offers.
My name is Mr. Wade. Some of your kids probably talk about me at home. I'm often in the lunchroom. I'm a volunteer here. I do about, my lease is probably 3 hours a day. I'm around your kids. I eat with everyone's kid here in this school, and I enjoy it. They have so much on their mind, and they learn. They're teaching me so much. Okay? I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it takes a village to raise a child. I ain't going to give you the school version. I'm going to give you my version, because my version is better. Me growing up, my mom used to always say that it takes a village to raise a child. It was the other way around with me when I grew up, because every time I went out and came back, my mom always tell me, well, Miss So-and-so said she seen you across town doing this. So I felt like it was the village that was telling on me. They wasn't raising me, they was telling on me. So I didn't feel too good about things. So I started doing my own little research, finding out why do they always say that, why it takes a village to raise a child. And it's an old saying that comes from England all the way to Africa to America. And it's true, because it does take a village to raise a child, especially in these days and age, because our kids are so well advanced than we were. They got internet, outer net, Snapchat, chat snap, whoever it is, they got it. They eat food that we never even would attempt to put in our body. So we're learning every day about our own children. Not only am I learning about children, I'm learning about the school system, the teachers, how vital they are to us. They are so important. Every teacher here has their own skill set. They have a leadership skill, they have behavior skills that they can deal with our kids. My child is a student here. He's in the 5th grade, and I'm learning. A 5th grade is probably the equivalent to a 10th grader when I grew up, because my son knows everything about everything, and I know nothing. Okay, all I know how to do is get his meal and make sure he's happy. Okay, but we're learning about our kids. Okay, but I want to tell you about the school system. Okay, I love it here at Woodland. If I didn't like it so much, this is my 3rd year volunteering. If I didn't like it so much, I wouldn't volunteer. I volunteer every day. I know a lot of y'all be saying, what make you want to subject yourself to that type of punishment? Okay? But to me, it's not punishment, it's a joy. Okay? Every kid here, they will tell you we have our own handshake. We have our own language. And I'm happy that I'm learning it. I've been fortunate to retire from 2 jobs. And I could probably do anything in this world I really want to, like sit on the porch and talk about how bad the system is and how bad kids are. But I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to get out here and find out exactly why people are saying this. And I still haven't found out why they're saying it. Because we have awesome kids. Each one of our kids are unique. I'm not just up here saying this as a cliche. Okay? I'm a spirit-driven man, first of all. I'm a deacon of a church. Okay, I'm a spiritual man. And I believe in, I get what I put out. And I love every one of these kids that go to this school. I'm not here to prepare a nice long speech for you, I'm sorry. Don't have that. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you about my mom. Cause she said, whenever you run out of stuff to say, just talk about me. When I was raising my own child, before I had her, my mom used to ask me, she said, what are you gonna do if you have a child? And I was smart, I knew everything, just like our kids today. I said, I'm gonna raise them, Mom, just like you. And my mom just started laughing uncontrollably. She was gone. I was like, wow, this lady went crazy on me. And then she stopped laughing. And she took a deep breath and she said, you gonna raise a child, you and your wife, who has no experience, and y'all gonna do this together by yourself? Yep, just like you did. And my mom started laughing even harder. And I was like, what is so funny? And my mom said, well, she said, me and your dad didn't raise you by ourselves. She said, this whole town raised you. She said, everybody in this town put something in you. She said, when I got mad and I wanted to choke the daylights out of you, she said, instead of going to jail, she said, I went down the street and I talked to Miss Booker. And by the time me and her had coffee and cake, she said, I came back home and I felt a little sweeter. She said, I did not raise you by myself. She said, I don't want you to have the concept that I raised you by myself. That's why I believe it takes a village to raise a child. Because every last one of y'all in this room, you have something different to offer. And I don't challenge anybody. I just ask you, if you find 10 minutes of your day, come on in and talk with our kids. You don't have to put in 30 minutes, an hour. 10 minutes, just for them to see your face for 10 minutes. They're overwhelmed. They welcome a new face. They do. And they are so open. So just, if you find yourself, with 10, 15 minutes, come on in. I'll be waiting here, especially at lunchtime. I'll be more than happy to give you a grand tour of the place and introduce you to some of our awesome kids. So if you see me in the community, don't be scared to approach me. I'm open for ideas because when I hear from you, I bring it to the school and I ask them. I'm also on the school board. I ask questions. I'm here representing you.
Welcome again to Woodland. As Ms. Townsend had mentioned, my name is Katie Georgial. I am the Behavior Interventionist for the school. I've been in education. This is my 23rd year. I've been a special ed teacher before that, but this is my first year in this position. I have a lot of experience with behavior students. I have done emotional behavioral units. I've done treatment facilities. So I have a lot of background information, and so I'm here to help the school and the behavior on the behavior end of it. So as Ms. Townsend had mentioned, it does take a village. It takes all of us working together. I will say that the best part of education is you communicating with the teachers, finding out what's going on in the classroom, have that open line of communication working together. Just so that your students know that you all are on the same page and you're working together. Sometimes what mom doesn't know, at home, or what dad doesn't know. So it's just keeping that line of communication, knowing what they have turned in, what they don't have turned in, what they need help with, how you can help at home, bring all that together. So all of us working together. We are a Leader in Me school. If you're familiar with Stephen Covey, he wrote a book about the 7 habits of highly effective people. Well, they've taken that and made a school version, and so we follow that at school. We do a 15-minute behavior core lesson about the habits. We want our kids to have it all. We want our kids to be able to grow up, be productive, go get a job, and these things, there's not one thing up there that we don't want our kids to have. Be proactive. Begin with the end in mind. Put first things first. Think win-win. Seek first to understand, then be understood. Synergize, work together. Sharpen the saw, meaning that they're going to have a balance between taking care of themselves and taking care of the things that need to be taken care of. I mean, how many of us don't want like 5 minutes of, hey, let me just have 5 minutes to myself? You know, and that's what that's all about, is sharpening your saw. Having that time to be able to do what you want. We have leadership tickets, and the kids earn those based on the 7 habits. And each day they draw one. There's like 7 little buckets in there, and they get to take it up there, and they're so excited about taking it because they clip off or they get a leadership. Going above and beyond is what they get it for. And so then they draw one, and they get something from that. So we want them to keep encouraging them, and the teachers give them out. You know, and it's not just kids that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's kids that are going above and beyond that. And that's what a leader, it takes to go above and beyond what's expected. We are also a PBIS school, which is Positive Behavior Interventions and Support. If you look around in every classroom you'll go in the hallway, near the bathroom, in the cafeteria, there's one in the library. We follow these 3 in the blue bulleted: respectful, responsible, and ready. Everything is based on those things, and in each area it tells them, what does it look like? This is classroom in a classroom. You know, to be respectful, keep your hands, feet, objects to yourself. Use nice words to, you know, your peers. Body language, you know, sometimes body language says it all to, you know. And but responsible, you know, what does it look like to be responsible? Complete all your tasks. Raise your hand if you need help. And then being ready, you know, follow directions the first time. So each of our areas have those expectations for the students so that they know what their responsibility is, or what, you know, what it is looks like to be respectful in that area. The last thing I want to talk about is currently we do have a dress code. I listed the major things that we really need to still continue to work on right now. I know it's been taken to site-based for possible looking at that again, but as of right now, shirts being solid, any kind of Hardin County athletic wear from North Hardin or any of the Hardin County schools, they're more than welcome to wear that. School spirit kind of things, but we ask if it's not school spirit, not to have anything of print or any pictures, because, I mean, I've seen shirts that you're like, what? Did you have that at school? No, you know. So we're just trying to keep it, you know, kind of to where they look good and, you know, they're not wearing anything that's not inappropriate. Pants being solid in color, can be blue jeans, any kind of cotton pants. If the girls wear leggings, leggings really aren't pants, but they wear them, and just make sure that the shirts, you know, cover up the bottom area. Jackets are just having a light jacket in your student's backpack, because sometimes the classrooms get cold, and then they want to walk with their arms inside their shirts, and that's a safety issue. If they trip on something, they don't have their hands out, you know, it's a goose egg for sure on the head. So just having one in the backpack, because I know the 4th grade swaps and the 5th grade swaps, and they move rooms, and I mean, right now to me this room's really hot, but some of the other rooms could be really cold, so it's just leaves for that, you know, change in temperature. But again, thank you guys for coming, and like Ms. Townsend said, it takes all of us to work together.
I am Councilwoman Tanya Seabrooks, and what me and Councilman Stan Holmes are here to do is talk about small business and relationships. Now, if you're probably sitting here saying, what does small business have to do with anything with a kid right now? Well, we did a study. There was a study that was done, and I can't tell you the name of it, unfortunately, but it can't be Googled. Between the ages of 8 and 25, they did a study on what kids want to be. Now, you think in 20 to 25, you should kind of already know, but the average job that they wanted was entrepreneurship. They want entrepreneurship. That's what they want. Now, what does that have to do with you? Well, a whole lot. Because that means an 8-year-old, which is elementary, is now talking about, hey, this is what I want to be when I grow up. This is where we need to have the conversations with the parents of, hey, have you noticed this about your kid? You know, what are some strengths, some weaknesses? What have you noticed about the kid? But then you can take it a step further. Since I know this is a concerned group of parents, I know that because you're here after 3 o'clock. That tells me everything. So because you're here, having that conversation with the teacher, because they're with the kid 8 hours a day. So what are you noticing about my kid? When you have the parent-teacher conferences, have the conversation about strengths and weaknesses, because if you can nurture those things now, you're going to set your kid up to be in the right place by the time they get to middle school. And then from middle school, they'll be in the right place when they get to high school. But it all starts with us having a conversation, okay, other than a behavioral conversation with the teacher. It's having that open communication. Hey, what are you noticing? If my kid is suddenly acting funny about something, hey, let's talk about that. And be okay with that. You know, that's one of the things, because this is your kid. You're investing in them. You're sending them here. We want to make sure they get everything that they need. The teacher just needs your help to get on board with it. So we're just doing this thing together, and it's all about the relationship. Now, how that counteracts is the fact of when you look at what's out there, everybody thinks that my kid just has to go to the 4-year degree and that's it. That's wonderful if that's the track that the kid is actually on. Some kids are going to be 4-year degree students. Some of them may even be 6 or 8, depending on what's their career field. And some kids may be actually 2-year degree. Some kids might be trade school only. Some kids might be EC3, that's it. And some may just say, hey, I want to just go into retail. I may want to travel. I may want to do whatever. But see, to avoid the breakdown of communication of what my kid wants to be the day after graduation, we start talking to the teachers now. We get in a habit of having that conversation. When I was growing up, my mother was at the school so much, I was like, are you seriously on the payroll or what? There she is right there. See how they go? So, see how they go? But the point is, she was engaged, and it was 3 of us. My dad was a tanker, so he was in the field a lot. So she's pretty much a single parent. So in that, she had 3 of us, and she went to each of our schools to find out what's going on, what's the progress, where are we at, and it made us accountable for what we had to do as kids. But it also kept her accountable as to the bargain on my success when I'm in her house. So what you put into now depicts how long they're going to be with you after 18. And that's my selling point. If you don't want them there with you forever, we got to give them coaching. We got to give them guidance. But it all comes down to that relationship. Because my mom was like, okay, we're really hoping that you got an idea when you graduate, you know. So that's what we did. There may be bumps, there may be bruises, but it brings a different sense of accountability to our children if they see our parents involved as much as the teacher is. And it helps out so much in multiple ways in a little bit. But the bottom line is we want to make sure that our kids have all the resources that's allotted for them. We have everything here in our area, in our county. There's tons of resources. The problem is we can't get it to everybody. So if you're saying, well, why don't we have this? Chances are we do. We probably have it. You probably just hadn't heard about it. Just like EC3, a lot of people say, I've never heard of EC3. EC3's been up for what, 5 years now? 5 years?
About 5 years, yes.
Turning out some great students in culinary, plumbing, electricity, doing all kinds of wonderful things. These are kids that are graduating and getting $50,000, $60,000 jobs. Some parents are still trying to get $50,000, $60,000. I'm like, oh, okay. But this is a good thing because we want our kids to start doing more in our community. And not just that, don't negate the opportunity to get them involved now in volunteering. This is a great time to do that. Don't negate that opportunity too. See how you can teach them how to volunteer. I live by it. Give back is the best form of flattery when it comes to your community. That's my time, and I'm preparing the way for Councilman Stan Holmes.
I come to talk to you about, as she said, entrepreneurship and relationships. And the interesting thing about that is, as she was talking about it, I was thinking about, I'm also a school teacher. I teach at, I used to teach in Hardin County for 12 years, and now I teach at Fort Knox High School with some really interesting kids. That's all I can tell you, all right? So what I do is I talk to my kids. It's interesting that she said that because right now I have my students doing a project, and I call it the Career Research Project, is what they have to do. So they actually have to do an opportunity to find 2 different jobs that they're really, truly interested in doing. They can't give me none of that crazy stuff that they tell me they're going to do, like rapper and baseball player or sports professionals or anything like that, which is all cool if that's what they want to do. But my focus is I want to talk about, I try to get them to understand that there's an A and a B situation they need to be prepared for as well. So they give me some other ideas. I had one gentleman that talks about he wants to be a senator. So I said, all right, you can go ahead and do that. So as he's talking about it anyway, they talk to me about it, and I really want to know what their true ideas may be. Because, and it's interesting because I got a little dice, and they have to roll the dice and find out how many kids they're going to have and everything. Some of them have 6 kids, and they say, well, why do I got to have 6 kids? And I say, hey, because you never know what may happen in life, and this may be a real life situation for you. So I'm trying to seriously prepare them for what they're going to have to do. So they have to think about child care, they have to think about what it costs to get to work, how far they live from work, how much their house is going to cost, the whole 9 yards. Because if we don't have them start having that conversation with them now, then the reality is when they get out there in the world, it's going to be a little confusing for them. So what I thought about and I want to share with you all as well is that when our kids were growing up, we would always tell them, okay, 8th grade, I'm asking you, okay, what's your plan? Hey, because sooner or later, and I put it to them in math. I said, let me ask you this. How long are you going to be in high school? And they said, well, 4 years. I said, cool. So how many months are in a year? They said, 12. I said, cool. So how many months you in school? They say 9. I said, so 9 times 4 is 36. I said, 36. I said, man, you lost a whole year. And they be like, I didn't think about it like that. But in the time, and what I'm trying to get them to understand is, hey, that time flies by so fast that before you know it, I'm a senior, okay? So I'm asking and trying to get them to understand that they need to start preparing for that situation right then. Because when the time comes, when you cross that stage, there's going to be 300 other kids that may graduate with you don't have a clue to what they're going to do. I want to make sure you have that opportunity to at least know what you're going to do and how you're prepared to do it. Because when you say you want to be in the Army, or you say you want to be an engineer, or you say you want to be an Uber driver, I don't care, whatever it is, how do I get there? There's a process. And we got to think about all those steps to get there. So the point is that for all of us, we got to make sure that we understand that and start thinking about that process for ourselves. So we want to make sure our kids understand that we're having the conversation with them is important. No matter how small they are, having the conversation with them is important. Because there's things that they want to tell you all the time, and there's things you want to tell them. Because we've been through some things ourselves, so we want to share some things with our kids so they can do better for themselves as well. All right? So I shared with the last class we had that as I was growing up, my father used to ask us to read all the time. Okay? And as we were growing up, he would always have us read, and I'd be like, I don't like reading. I hated it. Okay? So every time he put something in front of me, I'm like, I don't want to read. So he would have us do little essay stories or summary stories about what we read every day. Every day. All right? So as I'm reading, we have to write a little article on it and write about it and everything. I'm like, oh. So I was that guy that always tried to be a little rebellious when Dad told me to do something, okay? So whenever he had me, we had this little magazine or newspaper in St. Louis that talked about nothing but the crimes and different things that were going on in the city. So I'd find the craziest little article and try to read about it and write on that, hoping that he'd tell me, you know what, forget it, you ain't got to read them all. Okay? I'm going to tell y'all that didn't work, all right? Because he'd still make me read the next day. And I would just continue to do it. So now, the interesting part about it is, I love to read now. Every chance I get. Why? Because it expands my mind to figure out what I can do next. It puts me in a place to where I know that I can continuously educate my mind and expand it and share something with my own kids that make them knowledgeable as well. So those opportunities are there for you. Even if you just sit down and read a comic with your child every day and y'all discuss it, that's an opportunity for you all to grow together. So take that opportunity and build that relationship with that kid. Have a great day.